Sunil Kumar. Welcome all of you to Carpentry Shop. So these are the different wood joints as we can see on the board. From starting onwards we can see these are the T-lap joints. By T-lap joints there is a one U shape and then there is a this one. So these two when going to assemble it will look like a T shape. Here lap dottel joint. Dottel is a one shape. So this shape is indicating dottel shape. So these two if we assemble again further we will get this kind of assembly. Again T-bridge joint. Why T-brittle joint? Why? Because there is a gap as we can see here. Closely if you will see there is a two gap from top and bottom. So this is a brittle joint. T-brittle joint here. Similar way mortise and tenon joint. Here rectangular hole is there. Rectangular hole in one part and male part in other portion. So when these two are going to join or insert this part into this hole, you will get this mortise and tenon joint. Similar way over here, double tenon. Double tenon means here again two hole will be there, two hole and two male part is there. So this two male part is going to insert in this part and finally we will get this double tenon and mortise joint. Again here secret mortise joint. Again here this is a blind hole. Here if you will see there is a blind rectangular hole. If you will see from here there is no gap, no through hole. So this one is a blind hole. So again this part is going to align and insert into this part and finally we will get this joint. Again hinged mortise and tenon joint. Why it is like that? Because here a stepped hole as you can see here male part, this is a one extension portion and over here this is a smaller portion. So similar way there is one hole. If you will see into this one there is a stepped hole we can say. So this again by joining these two we will get this tenon joint. And here corner lap joint. Corner lap joint, why means it is here we saw here lap joint. So it was in middle. Here it is in corner, extreme corner. That's why it is a corner lap joint. And here mortar joint. Again inclined face but some extrusion is there. Some small extrusion if you will see here. And similar hole inside this piece. Again these two will align and join. Again finally we will get this joint. Again corner bridge joint. Already we saw the brittle joint. Already we saw the brittle joint. This one is a corner brittle joint. See how it is. Next one is oblique brittle joint. Oblique. Why it is oblique? Means one part or one member is inclined to the another member. That's why it is a oblique brittle joint. Here also rafter joint. Again we can see these all names are according to their shape only. Here see how these two are going to join and finally this shape. And racking craft joint. Here see how this shape is there. Here one third member is coming as we can see. One member is this one, second member is this one, and finally when this two is coming there will be one gap, and in that gap this third portion, if you will see this black portion, this is a third member. This third member is going to lock these two member. And then groove joint. As we can see here there is a groove. This groove and this projection is going to align and it will slide into this, and then finally you will get that groove joint. So these are the sequence and equipment which is going to use to make this joint. So first one is what? Measuring tools. Measuring tools is what? To measure the dimension of the shape that wood part. Marking tool, pencil, subscriber to mark, to locate that marking from where to where we have to cut. Cutting tool to removing the material such as saw, chisel, etc. Smoothing tool is as we know the planer such as wood jaw and iron jack plate. These are the smoothing tool. Drilling and boring. Drilling means what? Drilling the hole. That is hand drill, ratchet brass, etc. is a drilling hole. That tools. And there is a holding tools. Holding tools means workbench, bench hook. These are the holding tools which hold the workpiece. Striking tools, striking tools. Striking tools is your hammers. Different types of hammer is a striking tool. There is a sharpening tool. Sharpening tool, water stone. Why this sharpening tool is required? To resharpening the equipment through which we are going to manufacture or make the joints. Different carpentry joints already we saw. Wood working machines, I will show you these machines. Okay, this one is a bend saw machine to cutting the wood into the pieces. This is for mass cutting. When the number of pieces will be more, then we will use this machine. This machine is working with the help of motor and pulley system. See, this one is your blade. This one is a blade, and this one is a flywheel. One is on the top and another one is on the bottom. And over this plate, we are going to keep wooden piece, and then we are going to slide it. As we saw earlier, that one is for mass production, and that one is a blade type. This is a circular saw. Why circular saw? Because this threaded tool is in circle shape. Over here, we are going to keep our workpiece or wood part, and with touching of this one, this is a gauge, and later on slowly sliding into this direction so that the wooden part will be in two pieces. So this one is a surface planer. Surface planer in the sense when our workpiece will be this much thickness or more than this one, then plain surface should be planer over here. This one is a cutting edge. It is going to rotate. This is a cutting edge, and it is going to rotate in this way, and then the wood part will move from here to here in this way, and this surface will be smooth and flattened. As usual, we saw the planer machine, and this one is a thickness planer machine. Thickness planer, where we are going to maintain the thickness of wood plate. So over here we are going to insert the wood, and here we are going to set the thickness between these two, and then we are going to push from here to there, and thickness will maintain. This is the wood turning lathe. All we saw earlier that one is for flat wood pieces. Here we can by using this machine we can turn this cylindrical shape of wood pieces. Over these two we are going to fix the wooden piece, and on that machine we are going to use the chisel and then turning the shape, and finally we will get this type of wooden piece will get through this machining process. So now we will see how to make that joints with the help of wood and different types of instrument. Okay. So here we have on the first stage we have a raw material, raw wood. Okay. So after that we will mark this wood. Okay. As we saw the dimension in the previous scene, the dimension was 300 into 50 into 25. So this one should be 50 mm. So on the raw material we are going to mark some allowances, with some allowances. So maybe it will be 70 mm. So after marking this one, we have to use this tri-square so that this line should be straight. And with the help of this scale and this wooden pencil, we are going to mark a line. Mark a line. So this line will be appear. Along this line, we have to use this rib saw. Okay, along this line we have to use this rib saw to cut into two pieces. Okay, so by using this rib saw, we are going to separate these two parts. And as we can see, we have three saw here: rib saw, cross saw, and finally tenon saw. As we can see, the teeth difference. Here we can see teeth difference. Here this teeth and this teeth is very different. This one is for a smooth cutting. This one is for smooth cutting. And when this piece was long enough, very long, then we are going to use this cross saw. Okay. So next step is, after using this saw, we will get this type of raw material. This stuff. This is a random shape. This is a 70, or this one is a 300, like that. So on one surface, we have to clamp this workpiece into this vise. This is a bench vise. Over this, we are going to use this planer. This is the planer machine we are going to use to remove the material from this surface. We are going to remove this material from the surface. Immediate after removing the material, we are going to mark like that. Okay, so this plane or this surface will use as a reference plane. Okay, so on the third step, what we will do after planing, immediate after or adjacent to this surface, we are going to again use this planer. And then when we are going to use this planer, simultaneously we have to use this tri-square to check whether this surface is perpendicular or not. If perpendicularity is achieved, then we have to stop it. Later on again we have to mark this one should be 50 as saw the dimension. So what we will do, this is your gauge marker. So we have to set this point. This is a marking point. This one is a marking point, and this one is a reference plane. So distance between this reference plane and then marking gauge, this length should be 50 as we saw in the dimension. And from this reference plane, this should be marked as a 50, and you can see here this one is a marking line. So from here to this one is a 50. Okay. So later on, after marking, again what we will do? Again we have to use this planer and remove the material from this surface, and we have to achieve this thickness, this 50 mm. Okay. On the next step, again when we did this three sides of planing, again this surface we have to remove the material again with the help of this planer. Okay. After that, what we will do, how much material we have to remove? So again we have to set, already we saw 25 mm. So again we have to set this marking gauge as a 25 mm, and from the reference plane we have to mark this one. So that, and again according to this marking we have to use this planer, and we have to maintain this thickness as a 25 mm. Okay. Later on fifth stage, what we will do? On fifth step we have dimension 300. So we have to divide it into two parts, 150 and 150. So this should be in middle line. Again we will use this marking pencil and our tri-square, so that line should be straight, and then again mark this one. Okay. Later on again we have to mark over here, mark over here with the reference of this line, again like that, again here like that we have to keep and mark it. Again here also with the reference of this one, again we have to keep like that and mark it. And finally again for your information or for your reference, again you have to these two line, as you can see here one line is here and another one is here. So we will put on this line, these 2 points should be on this line, and again we will draw one line over here. So this all the 4 lines should be in one plane or one point line, and again we will mark these two, and again we will use this tenon saw. Why this tenon saw here? Because this should be smooth, this should be very fine, and using this saw we are going to part it into 2 parts. So after parting we will get these 2 shape, these 2 part. Okay, later on getting these 2 part one by one we will see. We have to use lap joint. Already our title was cross half lap joint, so these 2 should be in half. So this all 3 should be 50, 50 and 50. This one, because we have this length is total 150. So this one should be 50, 50 and 50. So from here to here again we will mark with the help of this gauge marking. This one should be 50 and this one should be 50. Later on marking we will use our pencil and try a square to mark this one and again mark here. Similar way again we will use this gauge to half of this one. So how much? It is 25. So this distance should be again 12.5 and mark over here on the both surface. And later on we will join all the marking so that it should be visible to our eyes, so that during the cutting we should not do mistakes. Okay, similar way for marking of this piece also. After that, after marking we have to hold this workpiece into this bench vise, and we have to use this tenon saw here marking for cutting. So, and this cutting should be inside the line. We should not start from on the line. Why? Because during the cutting if your hand will shift, then what will happen? This hole, this marking will be get larger, and during the assembly it will get loose. That's why we have to use our saw inside the, we have to ensure that during the cutting the edge of or the thread of the tenon saw should be inside the line. Okay, after cutting up to this line we have to use this chisel and this hammer, and we have to keep like that, or we should hold in that one, and we have to use like that, so that the material will remove from this surface and we will get finally this shape. Okay, using chisel and mallet. Later on these 2 surface, in these 2 part we will get 2 surface like that, 2 pieces in this way. Okay, so after getting this shape we have to keep on the table and invert it into, this piece should be inverted and placed over there, and we have to hammer it, and then by hammering we will get this shape. Finally, this one is your product.